Hi, so I want to share some ideas that I think are really important. They're very important to me personally, but I think they're kind of relevant, really relevant and important in culture, in our current world, in the culture that we live in now with AI, creating music effortlessly, people sticking it on Spotify playlists, and it's sounding very much like the real thing. It sort of begs a lot of questions about what is creativity and what's going on. So I've got a few ideas here. I'll read something out. I think there are two kinds of creativity, two kinds. So I think there is basically aesthetic and what I'm going to call true. Now, I'm not making a value judgment here. I don't think that aesthetic is inferior to true. They're just different. Maybe I value true more personally, but that's my choice. Everyone has their own choice. So there's aesthetic art and there's true art. So what's aesthetic art? It's art that is beautifully designed and it has style, it has taste, it has excellent manners, and it's usually very inventive and ingenious. So it says a lot in those sorts of ways. Whereas true art is authentic expression, it's honest, it's vulnerable, it's full of feeling or deep consciousness within the soul, within the body and soul. And I would say it has originality in the sense of it comes from the source. So I can say a few words about originality. In trying to be original, we can sometimes disconnect from the source because we go to our inventive minds and think about doing things that are clever or quirky or strange. I'm not talking about that kind of originality, which is a very, obvious kind of crude kind of originality, if you like. I'm talking about just coming from your origin, coming from your source, coming from your soul. So I'm going to that. I'm going there. I'm going to that place of music and art coming from a very deep original place inside us. So I would say that many people prefer not to come from that vulnerable, authentic place inside because it's kind of more uncomfortable, isn't it? It's a more uncomfortable place to be. And they might prefer to admire and appreciate something that is really tasteful and beautifully put together. I know these things can mix, by the way. I just throw that in. I know it's not like black and white. It's not like this or that these two ways of doing music, doing art can mix together. But you take my point that there's this divide, and I think some people might lean more towards the aesthetics, the aesthetic kind of value of art rather than its truth. I would say that the surface, when we create this, an amazing kind of surface, an amazing outside, it's really beautifully put together. Art that's like that is not inherently scary at all. Whereas what kind of lies beneath in music and art, what's the mystery underneath? That is, well, yeah, pretty scary. It's ineffable, it's magical, and as I said before, it's kind of vulnerable. I think it's really important to say it can't be controlled, at least not in a way that is like, under our sort of immediate and at will control. It's more like surfing a wave. It's there, it's in us, we have access to it, and we surrender to those deep, authentic feelings. They carry us, but we don't control them. In fact, in a way, they control us. And that is quite scary. So what I'm interested in is this idea that music, particularly music, probably all art, doesn't even need to be well designed to be true and therefore valuable. And for me, I would say personally, more valuable. That the surface kind, the aesthetic kind has its place. Design is a wonderful thing. I mean, I love it. I'm quite happy to use AI myself to help me design cover art and all sorts of stuff like that. It's such a useful tool, but it doesn't replace that magical source. I would say the body and the soul, the deep consciousness. It doesn't replace that. And I would say that art that comes from that place is more valuable. And art that comes from that place does not need to be well designed. It doesn't need to be necessarily aesthetically all that refined or even good, whatever we mean by good. My favorite example of this is this. I mean, especially the first bar. It's literally just a C sharp minor broken chord. And yet straight away, even in that first bar, which is just a C sharp minor broken chord, we have this feeling, we receive this message that feels deep. Where is that message stored? Where is it? Is it in the ink on Beethoven's manuscript? It's nowhere and everywhere. It's something that somehow in the intention that Beethoven had when he originally composed it, and we continue to feel it. Is it like an oral tradition? Is it handed down from performance to performance? Maybe to some degree it could be that. But what if, just consider for a minute, what if it's something that is actually magical? Now, I want to really get into this more and more in future videos. I want to be brave, in other words, and talk about what I would say, discovered, kicking and screaming even, because I'm quite a rational person by nature, but a bit of a sort of sciencey kind of outlook on life, try to be conventional, try to be normal. But music has dragged me kicking and screaming to discover that there's something magical going on, something genuinely kind of inexplicable and not measurable that is very, very powerful. And it's that kind of wave, you feel it, that through the groove, that wave, as you tell the story. Even the simplest, that was quite an expressive performance maybe, even if I play it really simply, don't really do anything, it still has that feeling, as long as I feel the story. You see what I mean? It's kind of there, isn't it? Is it there if I start dressing it up, if I start to use my aesthetic sense of what makes good music and dress it up? Is that deep feeling still there? I would say it is still there because it's in the actual composition somehow. What about if I play in another key? Or what if I reverse the order of the notes rather than going up? I'll make them go down and I'll play another key and I'll dress it up. I'll make it really beautiful. No, it's not the same. And we're in that realm now of it's not counterfeit exactly. It's not that it's fake. I'm not saying that, but it's, or even copy, because am I copying? I'm borrowing ideas. We steal ideas all the time. And as long as we really mean them, you can copy if it comes from the authentic place. It's when it comes from this place of creating something as an aesthetic, as an act of aesthetic kind of design, something is lost. And like I say, many people might prefer that. It might feel more, it might be more conducive to having status in a way to do that. You know what I mean? Being a valuable object, being even a beautiful object that we can admire or appreciate, rather than something that might actually make us feel uncomfortable because it's kind of deep and meaningful. So it's interesting, two kinds of art, aesthetic and true. And you know which side I'm on, you can tell. And I don't want to pit them against each other either, because I definitely will use both. But that I don't want the true art to be something that is lost ever, but to be kind of given its proper place in creativity, artistic creativity. So I would go so far as to say that it's probably the thing that AI cannot do, the thing that human beings have access to, this deeper place, this consciousness, this feeling, this wave, this story. It's magic. It's something that you always know is not there if you are wanting it to be there. if you don't care about it being there, you won't even notice. Of course, that's the thing. And you can always copy the surface. You can copy the surface completely. The material surface can be identical. And yet if that magic's not there, this ineffable quality, this ineffable meaning and feeling, if that's not there, then if you want it, you know it's not there. You miss it. You miss that thing that needs to be there. So although AI produces some pretty convincing music, I think that's because the music it's copying hasn't got enough of that feeling. AI music sounds very plausibly like some music that you hear, but not all. A lot of music that we hear comes from this place. And maybe people will say to me, or they do say to me, oh, eventually AI will be able to do that as well. I'm not so sure. Many years ago, I read a book called The Emperor's New Mind by Roger Penrose. And, I don't think machines are going to be able to find that magical place. Who knows? I don't. But certainly they're not finding it right now. And although you could take an AI generated song and you could listen to a song that's out there on release that's done by humans in the same genre, and they might be virtually indistinguishable in terms of aesthetic, is there something in the human one that's coming from the soul? If there isn't, well, then that's the thing that human beings need to make sure is there, because that's the thing that we can do that AI cannot do, in my opinion. So, two kinds of art: aesthetic and true.